Hello there, my fellow Kenyans. Today, I want to talk about the fallouts or the consequences of the election of the Africa Union Commission chair. As you're all aware, the heads of state of the Kenyan nations gathered today in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. Yes, they were to elect the CEO of the commission. His title or her title is the chairperson of the Africa Union Commission. So 49 countries, or probably 48, were eligible to vote today, and it was a vote by secret ballot. There were candidates from 3 countries: Madagascar, Kenya, and Djibouti. I list them like that because the candidate from Madagascar got the least votes, followed by the Kenyan candidate, and then, surprise, surprise, or probably no surprise, the Djibouti candidate won. So the Africa Union Commission today has a new chairperson. My talk to you today is about the ramifications, what happened, why did it happen perhaps, and what is going to happen in Kenya following these results. But before I give you my thoughts, let me let you know that I've got to pay some bills, and so I've got to share with you a little ad, okay? The first ad is here. I'm an author. I wrote this book, Luanda Magere, the full story of the Luo legend, right here. One of my friends, Okoiti Okia Omtata Obango Namasese, wrote a play, and the play is also called Luanda Magere. It's a stage play. This here is a novel, and it gives you more details about the legend. So please find it on Amazon. You can buy it on with a Kindle or audiobook. You can buy the paperback, or you could buy the hardcover. It's a nice book to keep in your library for your children and other people to read about this legend. The next one that I wrote is Fela Kuti. This guy is the father of Afrobeat, and he had his tribulations when he was attacking the injustices caused by mostly military governments. It's a musical play that I wrote here. It is called Fela Kuti, The Trial, a musical play by yours truly, Dan or Ronje, okay? So that's that one. You can buy it also on Amazon. The third book here that I wrote, which is actually the first book that I ever wrote, is a play. It's called Sandra and Charlie. This here is a thriller. It's a stage play, and it's adapted for here in Tallahassee, Florida. It's a real thriller about a lady by the name Sandra and a chap by the name Charlie. By the way, Charlie is from Kenya. So read this play and enjoy its turns and twists. It's pretty good, okay? The other play I wrote is about Hyena and the Rock. This is the story of this hyena. You know, my dad, Mr. Helekia Oronje Onam, God rest his soul in eternal peace, he told me a lot of stories that are still here. And the one that I attempted to share with everybody, or rather I have shared with everybody, is about this hyena and the rock. This basically is a kid's book, and you can buy it for your kids, but you can buy it for your collection if you like. It's a great book. Get it today on Amazon. Last but not least is this book. This book right here, I tell you, this book was inspired by the visit of His Excellency, Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga, when I hosted him here in Tallahassee in 2007, as we were scheming to get Kibaki out of power. You know what happened after that election. Kenya went into a lot of turmoil, and Raila ended up sharing power with Kibaki, or rather Kibaki shared power with Raila. It is said, it's not known who exactly won that election, but that election caused a lot of strife in Kenya. And before that election, Raila was in Tallahassee and we talked. And I found out, like as I've said elsewhere, that Raila's heart, if he was not a politician, Raila's heart was not even on engineering, okay? Raila's heart was to be a Pan-Africanist leader. He wanted to lead in the revolution of Africa. Raila has always said, Africa has not developed like it should compared to nations that got independence around the same time that African countries got independence. That's countries like Singapore. They have really developed, but why hasn't Africa developed? It's because of certain dynamics, which he wanted to play a role in changing. Now that he didn't get that position, is he gonna quit? I doubt. Because once you love something, you're gonna pursue it. And he may continue to do certain things in his own way. But this book right here tells you about the ideas and strategies that we shared and that we were going to do. At that time, I did not know Raila was going to run for the chairman of the Africa Commission Union, Africa Union Commission, whatever way you call it. But this book is about that. It's about one currency, one Africa. This is just one idea how Africa can unite, okay? Now, having said all that and removed this into settle that, I want to say a few things about the consequences of today's election. Number one, let's get it very clear, ladies and gentlemen. There was a Kenyan in that race. But the truth of the matter is that not all Kenyans wanted Kenya to get that seat. Why? They had ulterior motive. They had ulterior motives. They did not want Raila to get that seat. Number one, because they wanted him to come back and continue to give Ruto problems. They figured that as long as Raila has nothing, he will be a thorn in the flesh of this government. And so that's one reason why they did not want him to get it. It is hard to believe that there are people who have taken it beyond hate or beyond even tribalism. It's like that man should not get anything in his life. Why? Why would you have so much hate or bias against someone? If he goes here, you don't vote for him. If he goes here, you don't vote for him. If he goes here, you don't vote for him. If he gets out of politics, you don't want him to get what he wants. That's the group of people that mounted a significant campaign on social media that Raila does not get this position. They were writing, let him fail, let him come back, let him go straight to Bondo. And the main reason, as I've said, was because they wanted him to be with nothing so that he could give Ruto problems. Number two, the other reason why one of the fallouts is going to be big here is because it was pegged on removing Ruto from power. Yes, I said it. Ruto has not done great things for Kenya. At least we haven't seen them yet. I do not necessarily say Ruto is the greatest leader Kenya has had. But if you ask me, which one is the greatest leader Kenya has had? In my opinion, my honest opinion, it is Moi. Daniel Toroitich Arap Moi did more for Kenya than Jomo Kenyatta, than Uhuru, than Kibaki, and than even Ruto. Why do I say that? Because there was not so much deterioration of the economy. And that's my opinion, okay? But it is fair to say that Moi had a long time in power, okay? So he cannot quite be compared with just 2 years of Ruto or 10 years of Uhuru or 10 years of Kibaki, and of course those 12 years of Jomo Kenyatta. All right, so why did the people who did not want Raila to get this position, they wanted to use Raila to remove Ruto. And you can see how much they've been cheering on the side. But let me take you a little bit so that you can understand. So I will come back to my point number 3, but let me get to point number 4. Point number 4 is that the attempt to remove Ruto from power started with various people. Yes, Raila was one of them. He did not believe Ruto won legitimately. And so he went and mounted campaigns because he wanted the votes to be recounted. He wanted the servers to be open. And he was on the streets. And let me say here, the Raila haters wanted him to be killed during that time. They advised Ruto not to joke around with Raila. They advised Ruto to eliminate him. They were ready to do it. You can see they shot in his cars with tear gas cans. In fact, they shot at his cars with live bullets. Who knows what those live bullets could have done? They could have killed the guy. And so who was behind that? It was not Ruto. No, it was not Ruto. It was the Raila haters. They wanted Raila out of the way. Don't ever allow Raila to come near power. Anyway, Raila chilled down a little bit. And then here comes this uprising, the Gen Z uprising. The Gen Z uprising initially was spontaneous, but it was quickly hijacked. Why? Because Ruto had started warming up to Raila. Because once Raila, remember this guys, Ruto did not ask Raila to run for the Africa Union Commission chair. Raila, that was his desire. Like I've explained, it was something he really, really wanted to do. It's kind of like you and me. When you quit your job or your profession or your occupation, don't you always have a desire of what you want to do when you retire? Some of you want to keep cattle. Some people want to keep chicken. Some people want to just build a house and relax. Some people want to travel. Some people want to do a lot of stuff. But Raila wanted just to serve the Africa Union. Once Raila declared that he was going for this thing, Ruto supported him. Genuinely, honestly. That did not sit well with the people who do not want Raila to get anything. Those people started trying to get Ruto to distance himself from Raila. Those people did everything they could. You heard them. They said, this government has shares. Let the people who voted for this government get what they want fast. And those who didn't vote can get the feed on the crumbs. That was the talk. And so when this Gen Z revolution came up and the Gen Z was formless, leaderless, rudderless, whatever you want to call it. It was a good revolution for young people who were crying for jobs, and they were crying that there is not many people retiring quick enough for them to get this position. The number of the population had grown. There was overcrowding in the universities, and even as the universities is graduating people, graduates do not have jobs. Hospitals do not have services because the population has outgrown the hospitals. The population has outgrown the housing. So people were just desperate because times had changed. And so they went on the street. But the people who did not like Raila, by that time, because Ruto had now started showing that he likes Raila, they went on the streets with these people. They sent people to cause mayhem. And so this culminated in the protests getting very violent and destructive. And they even got into parliament. And they got into parliament to send a message that this government is not legitimate. Yes, they were protesting against the finance bill. Like I've said, every president gets in there and tries to push their policies. If you disagree with those policies, the best thing to do is to go to court, or the best thing you can do is to wait for the next election. But obviously, there is always the third people, as it is said, the third option, that the Constitution allows the people to demonstrate, because power is given to the leaders from the people. Power, we lend the leaders the power, so we can take back that power, through demonstrations. That indeed was the case. But the truth of the matter is that there were people there whose goal was to remove Ruto from office simply because he had brought Raila into the government by agreeing to support Raila to be the Kenya's representative, or for Kenya to represent Africa in the Africa Union Commission. That was crazy, because you remember during that Gen Z demonstration, when the president humbly realized that he was going to lose this power, he was giving interviews. He conceded. He gave a speech. First, he was tough, but he was told, "Hey, man, this thing is serious." And he came back. But when Ruto gave that speech, what did the deputy president do? He went to Mombasa, and he basically revealed himself. He revealed himself that he was the leader of this revolution. He was not. He was just the financer of a few people that he had recruited and paid to cause mayhem. And so when the government realized that, the government became a little wary that this could get out of hand. But the person who saved Kenya from this mayhem, because there is no reason why Kenya should go down the drain of the countries that we are now seeing deteriorating in condition like Congo. Why should we go down that drain? Let me put it to you. If you have property, if you have made it good in Kenya, you don't want to go that route. Yes, people can say, let the poor get, but not everybody is in that very poor situation. Kenya is not in a very dire situation. Even those who don't have. Let me tell you the truth. Even those you think don't have in Kenya, they have something. Because if you doubt me, just look what is happening in the countries where the chaos have reigned. Once you lose it, you can't regain it. And when you lose it, when Kenya goes into shambles or into problems, those who have will lose the most. And it will be so hard to get it back. It will be so hard. So what did Raila do? In his wisdom, he decided, no, let me quell this Gen Z revolution. Let me pour cold water on it. Let me just cool it down. Let's figure out what we can do. Because it was obvious. Why would Raila be running for the AUC when Kenya is burning? He wanted the AUC chairman. Why would he be going there when Kenya was burning? It was only fair that the president who was going to vote for him needs to have peace. And it was for that reason that Raila did. So let me come to number 3. Number 3 here was these people wanted to get Ruto out of power. Yes. These people, they came up with the idea that if Raila is out, Raila was going to be so mad if he didn't get that position that he would come back and he would go and tell his people, let's go back to the streets. That Raila would support all these maandamanos. Okay? That's what they want. They want Raila to fight their war for them by them just being on the back and pulling them strings. Let me tell them something. Here's the truth. In the 60 plus years of Kenya's independence, there was bloodshed before the independence. There was the Mau Mau, but believe me, it's not only the Mau Mau that lost their lives. There were other tribes that also were in the struggle. I don't have to belabor the point, because if that's the case, then the whole country belongs to the Mau Mau. But that's not the case. Kenya was a country of many tribes, and many tribes were colonized, and many tribes resisted. Whether you resisted with significant resistance that reached up here, another tribe might have resisted with the resistance that was here because that's all they could do, and so on and so forth. But we were all together for us to get our independence. We got our independence because we fought for it, all of us. Kenya is for all of us, not for a certain section. Don't get this wrong. Kenya is not Kenya because Mount Kenya is named Mount Kenya. Kenya is Kenya because that is what the name was given to the entire country. Okay? So there were people lost during the struggle. After that, Jomo Kenyatta, obviously to stay in power, he had his intelligence and he eliminated certain people that he did not like. You can go on to the history and you can see who died mysteriously or unexplained, or something was not, we do not understand up to today why they died or how they died, or it's questionable how they died during the Kenyatta regime. I don't have to mention names, you know it. Let's go to Moi. Moi stayed in power for 24 years. One of the ways that Moi stayed in power for 24 years was because he subdued the Kenyans, but mostly the people from the mountain, because those are the people who did not want him to ascend to power anyway. But in any case, Moi stayed. But Moi staying in power, there were people whose lives were lost during his reign. Some of those people were not from Central Province. They were from another area. I dare tell you that the Luo suffered a lot during Moi's time. Yes, there was an attempt to overthrow Moi, and it was a Luo who tried that. And he lost his life because of it. Because Moi was in power for too long. You know, he was in power for too long. Was it right that someone tried to overthrow him? You may say that wasn't right, but how can you say it's not right when somebody makes laws, changes the constitution to prolong his stay? How can you say that wasn't right? It's like you're saying that whatever happened in January 6th at the United States Capitol was not right. If it wasn't right, because those were people protesting the idea. I'm not supporting it, but you cannot kill people because of that. Well, this person tried to take the government and they were defeated and they were executed. They were Luos. A lot of them were Luos. They were not the only ones who lost their lives. There were a lot of Luos in key positions in the Air Force, in here, who were later, through the intelligence, found out and they lost their lives. A lot of Luos lost their lives about that. And need I also take you back to Jomo Kenyatta's time when Jaramogi resigned and Jomo Kenyatta went for a, I don't know whether it was a rally or he was commissioning something or opening something in Kisumu, and they pelted rotten eggs at his car, and the special branch or whatever you want to call them opened fire, and there were Luos that were killed. A lot of Luos were killed because of that. So anyway, I've established that Moi did it. Kenyatta killed people. Moi killed people to stay in power. Kibaki was no exception. During Kibaki's time, as he was trying to cling on to power, as Raila was trying to evict him out of the State House in 2007, some people lost their lives. Yes, there was the post-election violence. A lot of people, lives were lost, and I'll say it again. The Kalenjin evicted the Kikuyu. The Kikuyu killed the Luos. They stopped them in matatus, in the houses that the Kikuyus owned because Luos were renting. They were killed. Why? We had no animosity with the Kikuyu, but that's what happened. Anyway, so now we reach to Uhuru's time. Was Uhuru clean? No. There were people who died during Uhuru's time. Msando was one of them. And I say again, Msando's death was the most painful because this was the man who was trying to make sure an election is free and fair and credible. But he was killed in a very heinous way. And you know what? His wife said, follow them. Follow them. God is watching. And I truly believe that God is not done with the killers of Msando. So there were deaths there. During Ruto's term now, even as Ruto is clinging on to power, Ruto is doing abductions. So all these abductions are happening, okay? Is it a good thing? No. But there is a narrative. Please hang in with me. This is what I'm going to finish with. There is a narrative. The narrative is that Raila needs to lose the AUC, come back to Kenya, claim the majority in Parliament and in the Senate, impeach Wetangula, bring impeachment motion against Ruto, and that all Central Province will be on board to remove Ruto. That is the narrative that is now being sold. That is the cheering that is happening, other than the other one that's just a stupid kind of celebration, that people are celebrating that Raila did not get the AUC. What has that got to do with you? As it is said, it has not increased the number of sufurias on your table. Okay? Neither has it taken any from Raila's table. It hasn't. What it has done is that now Kenya is not respected, or Kenya does not have an influential position to change things the way we know it, the way we like it. When we go to the Olympics, we run 5,000 meters. When we are ahead, it brings glory to our country because the flag flies. But right now, there's not going to be the Kenyan flag flying across the entire continent with a Kenyan there saying, we've come to bring peace, or we've come to bring development, or infrastructure, or whatever. It won't be there. So these people cheering, they're just, I just want to say that's the epitome of stupidity. But for the people who are wishing that Raila loses this thing so that Raila gives Ruto trouble, this is the message. It ain't going to happen. I put it to you. Raila losing this thing is going to strengthen the relationship between Ruto and Raila even more. The people you see in Parliament who are making noise that we are now the majority, they need to follow the High Court ruling that was the ruling for the that is well and good. I'm not saying they shouldn't follow it, but the truth of the matter, it has been passed. It's water under the bridge. Because even if ODM gets or not ODM, but what you call them, Azimio gets the majority. Is Azimio together? If Azimio takes the majority, it is very feasible that some of the people who are in the Azimio, some parties in the Azimio, let's just, for example, Jubilee, may not vote with Azimio. But I understand, it is not about who you vote for. For instance, even here in America, we have the Democratic Party and the Republican Party. Right now, the Republican Party has both House and Senate. Even if some Democrats vote with the Republicans, it doesn't mean that the Republicans lose their majority. No. It just means that they've lost a certain motion. So that decision by the High Court of Kenya is right, and it can be followed. But the idea of thinking that the majority, which is going to be led by Junet Mohammed and whipped by Millie Odhiambo, do not think that they will bring that motion. I put it to you, they will not, because they are smart people and they know what the opposition, rather not opposition, well, regarding right now is the official opposition of this government. They know what the narrative is being pushed. This narrative that get Raila back to oppose Ruto, so we get Ruto out. Do you know why they want to do that? Because even if you remove Ruto from power, Kithure Kindiki will be president. And this is what they're saying. Kithure Kindiki is so much closer to them than Ruto. It will be bringing back the presidency to the mountain. And they will be saying, die, die, die. It has come back. It has worked. We have used Raila to fight Ruto and bring back the presidency to the mountain. Is that what Millie Odhiambo wants? Is that what Junet Mohammed will want? Do you think that's what Raila is not seeing? I don't think so. I have not advised Raila on this. These are my opinion. But I'm putting it to you. Don't think Raila is such a stupid person. Don't think these people, they are that stupid. We are seeing what these leaders from Central Province and their flock, the ones they've sent them on the, social media to laugh at the loss of Kenya from leading the AUC. Because they just do not want Ruto to succeed. So my advice to them is take a chill pill. Wait. Sit easy. Sit on your fingers and wait and see what will happen. I don't have to tell you. I'm giving you a clue that the relationship between Ruto and Raila is going to be stronger. It's going to be the strongest it has ever been. Let's wait for the next election. Jipangeni vizuri. Ruto keeps telling people that. Watu wajipange vizuri. Yes, there's going to be a lot of leaders come. Morara Kebaso, or my very good friend, Okia Okoiti Omtata. I love you guy, man. Okay? You got my vote. Okia Omtata, you've got my vote. If you run, I vote for you. But then there is Babu Owino, Matiangi. A lot of candidates are going to come up. One, Herman Manyora has already told you. That is actually the reason why even Ruto will go back. Raila doesn't even have to do anything. There's just going to be a proliferation of a lot of people. And they cannot reach where the level of Ruto. That's like Macau Mutua once said, these people are playing Junior League, I don't know, Europa and all that, but Champions League, they cannot reach the level of Champions League. These people cannot reach the level of Champions League. They cannot beat Ruto. But the joining of Raila and Ruto is going to form a formidable force in 2027 that will see Ruto through to 2032. So what wajipange to for 2032? That's my thought. Because why? I'm not saying this in a bad way, but the truth of the matter is that Ruto has not gotten a chance to actually run the country through his programs. Yes, he has failed. Let me tell you, I didn't like the G to G deal. I didn't like the Adani thing that failed. There are airports that have been run by private entities. Even right now, a lot of the most successful airports are not run by the government. They are run by private entity. But the G2G deal was a lie, and it hurt us. The Adani deal, having cancelled it, we probably lost a lot of money. And there are other deals that we have reneged on. And now that some of these people also wanted Trump to be the president, Trump is going to withdraw aid. US aid is gone. And a lot of other aids are going to be gone. So medicine is going to be hard for those with conditions that they've been relying on from US aid. A lot of issues are going to come. We need to give Ruto the chance to get the country back where it needs to be. You want to talk about Gen Z? It won't work. It won't work anymore, because there's going to be a majority of people who will see this scheme of trying to use Raila. They will not take it, and it will not go anywhere. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, that's my thought. Those are my thoughts. I hope I have shed some light into some things that you're wondering about what's going to happen. But if you doubt, give it time and check back with me another time. Cheers.